Pay attention when you're buying stuff at the grocery store, especially Walmart. They just tried to cheat me out of $5. Doesn't seem like a lot, but if I'd have bought more than one of this item.
Kroger meat department now scamming you on the reduction stickers. Watch.
Americans are going through one of the worst price crises they have ever seen. Retail chains everywhere are raising prices at the same time. Even the names that were built on the promise of low prices are turning their backs on customers. They are coming up with tactics that feel almost like scams and all because they want to take more money out of our wallets. But their plan is backfiring. Today, let's look at 10 retail chains using questionable pricing tactics and how those very tactics are now costing them millions of dollars. Pay especially close attention to the name at number 8. It is one of the names millions of Americans have trusted in almost without question for years. If you still shop at these chains, you need to know what is going on. Because if you are not paying attention, your wallet could be the next thing that pays the price. Number 10. Walmart. You probably did not expect the first name in today's list to be Walmart. I get it. People go to a Walmart to avoid getting ripped off on price, not to stand at checkout wondering, wait a minute, that was not the price I saw on the shelf. And this is where the story starts to bother me.
So is these the digital prices that they were saying Walmart was going to get that's going to change like throughout the day? So at 1 minute it can be $2.68 and then I can come back in like 2 hours and it could be like $3 for the same thing? This is insane.
Walmart is replacing huge numbers of paper price tags with electronic shelf labels. So far, about 2,300 stores in the United States are already using the system. A Walmart can carry more than 120,000 items, and price changes that used to take employees hours, sometimes even days, to update by hand can now be done in just a few minutes. Very convenient for Walmart. But what about you? You still have to walk aisle by aisle, look at every number, put one item down, pick another one up, and do the math in your head, just trying to keep the whole cart under $100. If you're a retiree living on a fixed income or a family cutting every expense you can, the shelf price is not just a suggestion. It decides what you get to bring home. And a normal grocery trip should not turn into an audit.
Have y'all seen Walmart has dynamic pricing now? Look, these are new electronic tags, and depending on like the time of day and traffic in here, the demand for stuff, the prices will update to make them the most profitable.
Walmart says it does not use these labels to raise prices for individual customers by the hour or based on demand during the day. But if Walmart had never gotten into trouble over shelf prices not matching checkout prices, maybe the story would end there. The problem is it has. In 2023, Walmart agreed to pay a total of about $5 million in Colorado and Nevada to resolve allegations involving prices customers saw on shelves not matching what they were charged at checkout. Then there was the con case. One customer bought 15 items and alleged that 6 of them were charged at prices 10 to 15% higher than the shelf price. The total difference was only $1.89. Sounds small, right? But I think that is exactly what makes it so frustrating. Why should a shopper have to remember the prices of 15 items, keep the receipt, and then check for themselves whether a giant corporation has charged them correctly? To Walmart, $1 gained $8 is nothing. To someone counting every dollar, it is still real money. By 2025, Walmart again agreed to pay about $5.6 million in a California consumer protection case involving allegations that customers were charged more than the lowest advertised or posted price, along with certain product weight issues. Walmart can change thousands of price tags in a matter of minutes. But if customers have gotten used to checking their receipts just to make sure they were not charged something different, then the problem is no longer the label. It is trust. And that is only number 10. Because the next name does not frustrate customers because the prices are confusing. Their prices are very clear. So clear that more and more people are looking at them and asking, why am I still paying this much for this number 9 Target? If you want to know why Target is on this list, sometimes all you have to do is peel off a price sticker.
Okay, the rumors are true about Target prices. This cardigan, it's like, oh, not bad. You probably think it's like maybe $20 or so, regular Target prices. $40. But then, just wait. This thing right here.
This woman did exactly that. She peeled back the new price sticker on Target clothing and found the old lower price still sitting underneath. One item reportedly went from about $32 to $40. That alone isn't enough to make people angry, because now the question is no longer, this is too expensive. It becomes, wait a minute, why do I have to peel off the sticker myself, just to find out how much cheaper this used to be? And it does not stop there. Someone who says they work at Target also posted a video claiming employees were told to remove the printed price section from tags, while some newer items no longer had a price printed on them at all. So you pick up a shirt, but you may not immediately know how much it costs. You may have to find a scanner, open the app, check somewhere else. I do not know about you, but to me that is way too much work, just to answer one very simple question. How much is this? And this is where Target starts making life harder for itself. Target never needed to be the cheapest. Plenty of people were willing to pay a little more because the stores were easier to shop, the products looked better, and a lot of things simply felt more like Target. That is why people used to love Target. But if the nice part stays, while the affordable part keeps disappearing, you start doing the most natural thing in the world, comparing prices. You pull out your phone, you check Walmart, you look at Amazon, you wait for a sale. You start asking whether the item is really worth the money. So Target makes a few extra dollars on that shirt. Great. But if that same shirt makes you pull out your phone and compare the rest of your cart with other stores too, are those few dollars still worth it? This is where I think Target should be worried. The problem is not just that one shirt going from $32 to $40. The problem is that Target is testing the limits of the very thing that made people love it in the first place. The feeling that you could buy something nice without walking out of the store or wondering whether you paid too much. Target can keep testing how much customers will put up with. But eventually people stop arguing. They just shop somewhere else. And at least with Target, you can still look at the shirt, put it back, and say, no thanks. The next name is different. Number 8, Kroger.
Kroger meat department now scamming you on the reduction stickers. Watch this. This one was almost $1. And this one by $1.72. Because this package weighs 1.51 pounds. This is the new price per pound, which is now $3.89 per pound. And that's what they're saying the total is.
If a Target shirt is too expensive, you can put it back and keep walking. But try doing that with milk, eggs, meat, and enough food for the whole week. That is why the name at number 8 bothers me a lot more. Listen to this story from a Kroger employee. This person peeled a $2.49 price label off the shelf. Then a new label went up that still said $2.49 except for one difference. Now it was called a sale, while the regular price above it had become $2.99. If that is how a sale works, I think customers have every right to ask what is the real price. And this is not just about one video. A 2025 investigation at Kroger stores and affiliated chains found more than 150 products still displaying expired sale tags. In those cases, customers were charged more at checkout than the price they had just seen on the shelf, by an average of about $1.70 per item. If the deal is over, take the sign down. It is that simple. Because the customer decided to buy the product based on the number right in front of them. But the part that really caught my attention involved milk and eggs. In an internal email presented during a 2024 trial, Kroger pricing executive confirmed that for those two products, retail price increases had been significantly higher than cost increases. So do not tell shoppers that every increase is simply because costs went up. This is milk. These are eggs, not handbags or big screen TVs. A lot of families cannot just say too expensive, I will skip it. Then there are digital coupons. You may see one price on the shelf, but to get the lower price, you need an account on a loyalty card and app, and then you have to remember to save the coupon. I still do not understand why a 72-year-old should have to know how to use a smartphone just to buy a box of cereal for the same price the person standing next to them is paying. And in the end, Kroger comes back to something very simple. In 2026, the company announced plans to lower prices on thousands of items to win customers back from Walmart, Costco, and Aldi. After all the coupon sale tags and prices that made shoppers examine every dollar Kroger had to relearn an old lesson. If customers feel the price is no longer reasonable, they will go somewhere else. But the next name has an even bigger advantage than Kroger. They sell to you at exactly the moment you do not want to drive farther, do not want to wait, and sometimes do not even have the energy to compare prices. And that is when the so-called convenience fee starts getting very expensive. Number 7, Walgreens. There is something pretty ridiculous about Walgreens. You can pay a higher price for convenience, then walk into the store and discover the thing you need is locked behind glass.
Everything is locked up. I'm gonna be like when you go to New York and see that everything is locked up.
And I think this is where Walgreens starts making things harder for itself. People accept that Walgreens costs more than Walmart or Amazon for one very simple reason: convenience. The store is close to home. You stop in quickly, grab cold medicine toothpaste or some personal care item and keep going. But if the price is still higher and you also have to wait for someone to unlock a cabinet, then I have to ask, what convenience are you actually paying extra for? And this is not even the most frustrating part.
Walgreens Pharmacy has reached a settlement worth $100 million to resolve class action claims of fraud. This applies to any of you who got your prescriptions filled at Walgreens using your health insurance. The allegation is that Walgreens greatly inflated the price of their drugs when customers were using health insurance. So much so that even your copay alone may have been higher than what Walgreens was charging cash-paying customers. Here's an example of what someone paid for the same drug using.
Have you ever heard about the $100 million settlement involving Walgreens Prescription Savings Club? The lawsuit alleged that Walgreens failed to include the program's discounted prices when determining its usual price, which may have caused some insured customers to pay co-pays higher than the cash price. Walgreens denied wrongdoing but eventually agreed to create a settlement fund. And now, we are not talking about deodorant or shampoo anymore. We are talking about medicine. Imagine you are 70 years old, bringing several prescriptions to the counter and trusting that using your insurance will help you pay less. Then one day you find out that in some cases paying cash could actually be cheaper than your copay, and you pay for insurance because you expect it to protect you. You do not want to stand at the pharmacy counter wondering, maybe I should not use my insurance this time. These two stories may sound different, but they point to the same problem. Walgreens sells convenience, but more and more customers are paying higher prices while that convenience itself becomes harder to feel. And customers have responded. Walgreens has admitted that shoppers are becoming more price sensitive. The company had to cut prices on more than 1,300 products to bring customers back, while also announcing plans to close about 1,200 stores as many locations struggled. Price is not the only reason, but if a store is more expensive, slower, and still makes customers wonder whether they are paying too much, then that so-called convenience fee becomes very hard to justify. And the next name has an even harder time getting away with higher prices, because what they sell often costs hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars. When customers can sit at home, open 5 browser tabs, and compare, every dollar being even a little more expensive can be enough to lose the entire sale. Number 6. Best Buy. Imagine spending nearly $5,000 at Best Buy, then going home, opening Amazon, and finding the exact same TV you just bought for almost $700 less.
Look at this here. I bought this 100-inch Hisense U8K television set for $3,299. On top of that, I bought some other accessories, sound bar. Altogether, it came out to almost $4,700, as you can see when you look right there.
That is what one longtime Best Buy customer said happened to him on TikTok. He bought a 100-inch Hisense TV for about $3,299. Add accessories and other charges, and the bill came to nearly $4,670. Then he found the exact same TV on Amazon for about $2,599, nearly $700 less. He says he asked Best Buyer to match the price, but they refused. $700. For an ordinary family, that is not pocket change. That could cover part of an insurance bill, several weeks of groceries, or emergency money you're trying to keep around in case the car breaks down or some unexpected bill shows up. And what bothers me most is the feeling you get after the purchase. You already spent a ton of money. You thought you chose carefully. Maybe you even spent half the day going to the store, looking at screens, talking to employees, comparing different models. Then one search on your phone suddenly makes you think, did I just overpay? Best Buy understands that fear, so they have a price matching policy. On paper it sounds pretty simple if somewhere else has it cheaper. Best Buy will try to match the price. But when you actually need to use it, the conditions start showing up. It has to be the exact same model. It has to be in stock. It cannot be part of certain special programs. Some member prices have their own rules too. If I had just spent nearly $5,000 and still had to read through a pile of fine print just to figure out whether I qualified for a better price, I would be annoyed too. Best Buy can say they sell more than just a TV. They offer advice, installation, Geek Squad, and the experience of seeing the product in person. I agree. But if the difference is only $30 or $50, a lot of people may think that is worth it. When the gap reaches several $100s, that becomes a very different story. At that point, you are not thinking about Best Buy's showroom costs, you are just thinking, why am I paying this much more? And feeling like you overpaid one time can cost Best Buy more than one TV sale. The next time you need a laptop, refrigerator, or washing machine, you may open Amazon or Costco before you even think about going back. The next name hurts in a different way. Their customers still have to shop every week. They do not stop buying. They just start taking the whole cart somewhere cheaper. Number 5, Albertsons. The scariest thing for a supermarket is not customers buying less. It is customers still filling up an entire cart, except that cart is sitting inside Walmart instead of your store. And that is the problem Albertsons is dealing with. Americans cannot just stop buying groceries. They still need milk. They still need eggs. Meat, vegetables, toilet paper, things for the kids still have to be bought every week. So if customers leave Albertsons, the explanation cannot just be consumers are cutting back. They are still spending. They are just spending somewhere else. Albertsons used to have a huge advantage habit. A lot of people shop at the same store for 10 years, 20 years. They know every aisle, know the employees know which products their family likes. But loyalty sounds great until the weekly bill starts coming in $15, $20, or $30 higher. Once maybe you can ignore it. Multiply that by 52 weeks a year, and it is not small anymore. That is gas money, electricity money, insurance money, or money you're trying to set aside for an unexpected bill. And what is interesting is that Albertsons itself is seeing this happen. In 2026, the company lowered its sales and profit forecast while acknowledging that middle-income and lower-income customers were shifting toward cheaper options, especially competitors that were stronger on price. This is no longer just a few comments online saying Albertsons is too expensive. Customers are actually going somewhere else. And so Albertsons has to do something very familiar. Cut prices on hundreds of products and invest more in lower prices, private brands and programs designed to bring shoppers back. And we are only halfway through the list. Before we get to the second half, if you have ever switched stores just because the bill was getting ridiculous hit, and tell me which chain you left and where you started shopping instead. Because the next name is even more ironic with the promise bill is around being one of the cheapest places in America. Number 4, Family Dollar. This may be the bitterest irony on the entire list. A chain that built its brand around the word dollar was once bought for nearly $9 billion. 10 years later, it was sold again for only about $1 billion. A discount chain eventually became the cheapest thing it ever sold. But what I care about more is what happened to customers during that time. Family Dollar does not need to look as nice as Target. It does not need the service Walgreens offers. It exists because of a very simple promise: if money is tight, this is a place where your dollar can stretch a little further. And that is exactly why what happened with Family Dollar pricing is so hard to accept. According to an investigation based on inspection records from multiple states, Family Dollar stores failed more than 2,100 price accuracy inspections from 2022 through 2025. At some locations, dozens of items rang up at prices higher than what customers had just seen on the shelf. A pizza mark of $5 could become $7.65 at checkout. A package of paper towels listed at $10.99 could become $15.50. That may sound like just a few dollars, but try saying that to someone living on Social Security. I think this is the part that hurts the most. By 2024, Dollar Tree announced plans to close about 970 Family Dollar stores. The company also reported a net loss of more than $1.7 billion that quarter. Of course, pricing errors were not the only reason. Family Dollar was also struggling with older stores' heavy competition, a lack of investment, and weak consumer spending. But to me, there is one thing they absolutely cannot afford to lose: the belief that customers will pay the price they just saw on the shelf. And the next name plays a completely different game. They do not try to make everything look cheap. They make everything look expensive first, then constantly make you feel like you just found a great deal. Number 3, Macy's. If you walk into Macy's and see an item without the word sale, that might actually be the surprising part. 30% off, 40% off, friends and family, 1-day sale, extra 20%, coupon, clearance. At some point, I start wondering, is Macy's really discounting things? Or does the original price only exist to make the sale price look better? Take a coat as an example. Original price $200. And today it is 40% off, so $120. Next week there is another coupon. Now it is $99. End of the season, $79. After seeing that a few times, what do you learn? Not wow, I just saved $80. You learn that coat was never really worth $200. Next time, just wait. And that is the trap Macy's created for itself. Macy's was once sued by Los Angeles authorities along with several other retailers over allegations involving misleading reference prices, meaning an original price was used in a way that made the discount look more attractive than it really was. That does not mean every Macy's sale is fake. But it does show that the question, what is the real price here, has been around for a long time. Then there are the coupons. You get a 25% off code and think someone just handed you free money. Then you go to buy something and find out those shoes do not qualify. Those cosmetics do not qualify. Certain other brands do not qualify either. Special deals have their own rules. In my view, the thing Macy's has discounted the most may not be the clothing. It may be customers' trust in the listed price itself. But at least Macy's never carved a specific number into the brand name. The next name did. And every time the price goes above that number, customers do not just see a more expensive product. They see the promise of the entire brand bending right in front of them. Number 2, Five Below. Five Below just got rid of its Five Beyond section. Sounds like they finally went back to living up to the name, right? Not exactly. Items over $5 are still there. They are just no longer kept in a separate section. And this is the part I find both funny and confusing. Inside a store called Five Below, you can still find products priced at $10.20, even $35. Let me say that again, $35. Inside Five Below. Of course, there is no law saying they cannot sell things for more than $5. But Five Below is not like Macy's or Target. The number is right there in the brand name. You walk into the store with a very clear expectation. Most things here will be cheap enough that you do not have to think too hard about every purchase. That was the real power of Five Below. Five Below used to have a separate Five Beyond area for products priced above $5. At least then customers knew once you step into this section, the pricing rules are different. Now the products above $5 are mixed directly into the regular areas. In other words, they did not change the name. They just changed how we are expected to understand the name. And this happened not long after a pretty painful period. In 2024, same-store sales fell at one point, the company lowered its forecast, and the CEO stepped down. You cannot blame all of that on selling items above $5. But at the exact moment, lower-income customers were under the most pressure. Five Below was also testing how far it could push prices. The surprising part is that the company is now recovering pretty strongly, and products above $5 are still selling. But to me, that creates an even more interesting question. If customers are willing to pay $15 or $35 as long as they still feel like they are getting a deal, is Five Below really selling Five Below anymore? Or are they selling a much looser promise? It is still cheaper here than somewhere else, but number 1 is where the pricing game goes much further. No number on the sign. No old sticker to peel back. Just original price sale, price coupons, rewards, and enough conditions to keep making you feel like you just won. Until you start asking a much more uncomfortable question. What is this item actually worth? Number 1, Kohl's. Kohl's may be one of the few stores where paying the exact price on the tag can make you feel like you did something wrong, because here buying something is not just about looking at the price and deciding. You need a sale, a coupon, Kohl's Cash Rewards, the right day, the right brand, and preferably you also need to know which discounts can be combined with which ones. Sometimes I honestly cannot tell whether Kohl's is selling clothes or running a game show about prices. What makes Kohl's different from Macy's is that they do not just make you wait for a discount, they turn saving money into an entire system. You spend enough money to earn Kohl's Cash, then you have to come back during a certain period to use it. It sounds like a reward, but think about it carefully. You have to spend money first to get money, then come back to the store and spend that money. And it is very easy to walk in just to use $20 in Kohl's Cash and walk out carrying a bag that costs you $70 or $80. Then there are the coupons. A 30% off code sounds great, until you find out the item you want does not qualify, that brand is excluded, or today's promotion comes with another set of rules. To me, this is where shopping starts to become ridiculous. I just want to know whether a shirt or pair of shoes is worth the money. I do not want to solve a math problem before I can figure out what I actually have to pay. Some people call it smart deal hunting. Others feel like they are being pulled into a pricing game but designed a little too well. I just want to ask you one question. If an item only starts to feel worth the money after you get a coupon, is the problem the coupon or is it the original price? There was a time when shopping in America really did feel like something to admire. Big chains competed with lower prices, better service, and every possible way to make customers feel valued. You walked into a store feeling like the business had to work hard to earn your money. But it seems like a lot of things are only great in the beginning. As the chains get bigger, gain more power, and no customers have built habits around them, the promise on price starts to change. Out of the 10 names today, which chain disappointed you the most? And have you ever had a pricing experience? I did not mention, do not hesitate to share it in the comments. I read and listened to all of those experiences here. And if you want to keep looking with me at the things changing in everyday American life, do not forget to subscribe to the channel.